Hi, it's Bumbleberry, and we're back with Diana. I awoke after a peaceful sleep, staring up at Diana as she leaned back against the bedpost, reading a book I didn't recognize. As I started to shift, Diana looked down at me and grew a loving smile.
Good morning, dear. Ready for today?
She grew it! Planted the seed of joyousness. Despite feeling the tired effects of the morning, I nodded with a smile of my own. I could tell that today was going to be a good day. Diana closed her book and placed it on the table beside the bed before standing, stretching her body. Well, yeah, obviously, we just got snuggle times. We're beating the dude. Oh no. However, mid-stretch, Diana froze. In fact, the entire room became frozen, as if time itself had stopped. Are we doing another dragon trial? Diana? I felt myself move freely, despite the air around me being still. I stood from the bed and walked around to Diana, seeing her frozen like a statue. What was going on?
Human.
Hi? My heart froze as I looked to see Saero by the corner of the room, arms crossed, and stare cold as ice. What was he doing? Saero, what are you—
Come with me.
Okay. I trust him, because I told him I like her, so it's not like I was like, yeah, you can have her or anything. Without another word, Saero left the room in the hall. I was massively confused, but followed, now worried what would happen if I didn't. As we walked down the hall, I was stunned to see every person in the castle frozen in time. Holy smokes, this guy has a lot of power. How was this possible? How was Saero doing this? Saero was silent the entire walk. Eventually, we walked to the gold set of doors which led into the chamber her family was killed. I hesitated, staring warily at Saero before seeing him open the chamber. I'd be like, what you doing? Oh. To my surprise, the room changed from a nursery room full of blood to a view of an outdoor space. As far as I could see were trees and plant life, bustling and full of life. The opposite of the death room. What is going on? Saero stepped in and waited at the door, ushering me inside. I followed despite every nerve in my body yelling at me to just run back. I had to see this through, whatever it was. Pretty purple flowers! I love them! Is this the tree of lily or whatever? Saero led me into the forest of trees, making sure I was able to see him the entire time, until we reached a patch of land with a singular large tree, covered in pink and purple petals. Because, do you know how Diana always gives us, like, the flower of friendship or whatever? Whoa. I found myself become entranced at the sight. What was this place? Why was it here? As I examined the tree, I noticed the major abundance of fruits in the branches. I smiled, knowing exactly what they were. Sweet flowers.
You know of them?
I nodded. Diana gave me a slice of one in the human world. They're the best thing I've ever tasted. I could faintly remember the taste of it. It was perfectly sweet and moist. I was so full of energy after that day, I was hardly able to keep it all in. Saero let out a small chuckle, drawing my attention.
I was barely walking when I had my first taste. My lady climbed the tree and picked it herself before splitting it open down the middle and giving me one of the halves.
I slightly smiled, imagining a young Diana and Saero doing such a thing. As my gaze wandered to the tree, I spotted the crowns of Diana's parents and sister at the base, making me frown a bit. At the sight, Saero let out a small sigh.
Tell me honestly, do you truly believe you can make her happy?
Dude, are you, like, willing to let her up? Man, look at this serious face. Serious Saero. I looked up at Saero, surprised at the question. His face was stern and serious as he gripped his spear in a white-knuckle grip. Why was he asking such a question? With a nod, I took a breath and stood up straight. I do. He's being super cool. Like, part of me wants to be the one to make her happy, but I know that he does love her too. Like, I want us all to be happy together and forever and we'll be best friends. I know you love her too. I didn't want us to fight over this like children. Yes, I loved her, but so did he. Who was I to push him away? After all, he had served her his entire life. I mean, I feel like Diana should be the one to kind of like, if she has to choose, choose. And then in this case, because this isn't real life and I don't really care if she has multiple boyfriends, I'm like, okay. But if she tried to get another girlfriend, I'd probably be like, no. I am the human, love. If she tried to have like a male human boyfriend, I'd probably be like, no. But because she knows Saero forever, I get it.
You truly love her?
Ooh, whoop, I missed it. Saero stared hard at me, taking in what I was saying before raising his spear, pointing it at me.
You truly love her?
I do. I'm sorry if that upsets you. A moment passed. What would Saero do? I prayed that he wouldn't strike me down. I hoped he was willing to listen and compromise. Ah, he smiled! A small chuckle escaped Saero's lips, causing me to look at him in confusion. His face painted his concern and his strange thoughts on the almost humorous situation. As he lowered his spear, he shook his head.
It doesn't upset me. I just want Azair to be happy.
As do I. I feel like Saero and I would be besties if I was like literally in this place right now. I'd be like, come on, let's have a snack. And we would share fruit, and we would play in the flowers, and I'd teach him how to play checkers. And then I'd be like, I'm cold. Can I borrow your... Is it a coat? Although then he'd probably be naked, so that would be awkward. So never mind. Keep your coat on. We'll be friends secretly. Saero locked eyes with me, gazing into my soul to judge my words for their truth. I was being honest, and... truly, to know that both of us cared about her and loved her was amazing. Eventually, Saero smiled slightly.
Then, maybe it's best that we both try to make her happy.
Sure. He's like, I don't have to give her up. I smiled and nodded, happy to know that he understood. This wasn't a contest, nor was it something to fight about. If we both loved her, then the best thing to do was to both shower her in the love we felt she deserved.
What is going on?
Oops. She woke up. Saero and I suddenly looked to the direction of Diana's voice, seeing her completely red in the face in anger. As she walked forward, Saero bowed his head in submission.
My lady, I
asked Saero if we could talk in private. I said that? I can't believe I said that. Holy
My
smokes.
lady,
Look at his face. He's like, please don't hurt me. I love you. Tough. Diana stopped walking and stared at me with the most confused look. I giggled a bit before stepping to her and taking her hand. We needed to chat about a little something. About you, of course.
About me?
I nodded with a grin before walking over to Saero and placing a hand on his shoulder, making him look up at me. I lowered my hand and offered it to him, helping him stand up before continuing. When did he fall down? We both are in love with you, Diana. The look on Diana's face was both hilarious and adorable. She looks like, what does this mean? Her face turned completely red as she darted her eyes back and forth between the both of us.
Azair.
Saero took a step forward and took one of Diana's hands, as I did the same with her free hand. Diana looked back and forth between us, now completely in shock and uncertainty. Saero and I couldn't stop the smiles on our faces at the sight.
We love you and want you to be happy.
Yes. If it takes both of us to do it, then we will happily do everything we can to ensure that happiness. My heart felt like I'd make the right choice. Saero loved her, and so did I. There was no need to lay claim to her when she was deserving of ultimate love. If it was something we could both provide, then it was well worth sharing. Diana's eyes began to water as she looked down and tried to catch her breath. Before Saero and I could worry, however, she softly chuckled.
You both are such fools.
Rude. For a moment, Saero and I became the ones confused, but as Diana looked back up at us with a happy smile, soft tears running down her cheeks.
I don't deserve either of you, let alone both of you.
Yay! That's where you're wrong, Azair. I stepped forward and softly kissed Diana on the lips, making her gasp and stare at me wide-eyed. As I pulled away, I grinned. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Saero stepped forward and placed a kiss of his own on Diana's lips, causing another gasp to erupt on her and making the blush on her face deepen.
And we would be honored to grant you that happiness.
Diana couldn't help sobbing and covering her face with her hands. Saero and I quickly rushed to her sides, embracing her and sandwiching her between our bodies. We didn't want to upset her. She's so happy, a little Diana sandwich. And in most cases, I don't understand polyamory. Like, I get it in some ways, but in a lot of ways I'm like, I don't know if that would work. But I think because Diana's a queen and she's got like 8,000 pounds of stress, I think it's good that she has like 2 different friends that she can rely on. Does that make sense? Even though they're romantic friends. Her body shuddered between ours before she took in a couple of breaths, trying to calm down. Saero and I, however, began to pepper kisses along her hands and cheeks, wanting to comfort her. It was hard to believe that we agreed on something, but Saero and I both wanted the best for Diana, and both of our hearts wanted to be with her. As long as we were open about it, we would be okay. We were completely happy. The energy that sparked within Diana completely filled her with power, giving her the strength to completely annihilate the Demon Lord's army, almost single-handedly. What many expected to take years to accomplish, Diana took days. Every attack the Demon Lord threw at us ended with him becoming utterly defenseless, soldierless, and powerless. Despite him managing to escape each time, we dwindled his troops to a mere handful of imp demons. Soon we had him cornered against a stretch of water called the Decaying Sea. No, Diana, stay away! Saero, Diana, and I stood upon a cliff top, staring down at the legions that had gathered below us as we mentally prepared ourselves for what would be the final battle.
To think, this will finally be over.
Once it is, you will become the new queen of this world.
I looked over to Diana, seeing a soft glimmer of fear in her face. Was she not prepared for that responsibility? It's kind of what we were going for here, Diana girl. I took her hand, causing her to look over at me in surprise. As I nodded, I let a grin paint over my face. You'll be an amazing queen. Saero smiled as well, taking her other hand and making her look over at him.
That you will, and we will support you until the very end.
Diana's face completely turned beet red as Saero and I smirked at each other. We gently leaned in and kissed both of Diana's cheeks simultaneously, causing her to gasp and straighten up like an arrow. Oh my gosh, do you guys watch Ouran Host Club? Part of me just loved the twins, and my soul is so happy watching that show. And I should read the rest of the manga. I'm only into book 4 or something. During the time before the siege, Saero and I managed to work out our differences and found ways to double team against Diana, whenever she was feisty, stressed, or needed care. I have to admit, we were the perfect duo. Diana shook her head violently and glared at both of us before pressing a kiss to each of our lips, causing us to shut up the laughter we had released upon seeing her blush. But who does she kiss first, Would it be better to be kissed first or last? I don't know. Diana looked to the crowd and stepped forward, slightly arching her back towards the legions below. She no longer was just Diana, but she had become the mighty queen of the rebellion, one that I loved with all of my heart.
Milites! Et hoc liberati estureit, ele diudon...
Len. Diana summoned her saber, letting it shine brilliantly as the purple taint over her skin began to twist and turn. Before my eyes, the taint on her back took shape, lifting off of Diana's skin and morphed into her beautiful demonic wings. I watched with pride as Diana's body lifted off the ground and began to fly over the legions, slowly gliding towards the castle.
To war! To battle!
Let's take him down! And that cry marked the dawn of change. The demon world would end the age of the Demon Lord's tyranny and begin the age of I was about to say unlimited peace. United peace and prosperity. With Diana soaring through the air bowed to her and proved her worthy of such power. As I stared, time around me slowed as I took in everything that had happened. We were at the end of this war. Where would we truly go from there? Who knew? But I knew that I would be at Diana's side forevermore. I managed to seduce her into bringing me to a new world and experience everything. We were in love, and I was certain that she would become the beacon of life, not only for me, but for every demon in this world. After all, she managed to seduce me, too. Oh my gosh, roll credits. The Demon War was only the beginning of our lives together.
Well, you did it!
That's the end?
Congratulations! Nevertheless, come on. You got to be with a succubus and help her fight in a war.
No, I did not fight. I did not do anything.
Even got her to admit that she is in love with you.
When did that happen?
Go you! Demons are very hard to convince that you love them. Tell me about it, I know.
Who do you love?
Anyways, you've been through a lot, so why don't we skip to... Huh? You want to know what happened after the war?
What happened?
Well,
one side, he was no match for the power she gathered from her
love.
love.
The power of love really does conquer all.
Thank you, Kay.
Anyway,
I like to
when the war ended, the entire rebellion celebrated as Diana presented his head to the masses the day after, she became queen of the demon world. It definitely shocked her, and it took her a while to get used to being called Your Highness by the other demons, but You helped her through it.
Because I'm a pro.
Well, you and Saero, anyway. Both of you pretty much became her anchors and support the entire time through her coronation and beginning to rule the world.
Ruling the world!
Saero, being told of the deal she made with you, convinced you to stay in the demon world with them, so that you'd be with her for the rest of your life. Though, I didn't think it was hard to convince you, was it?
Oh my gosh, what?
You love the dickens out of her. Come on!
Come
Still, from what I hear at least, the three of you live happily ever after. Huh? You don't believe me? Alright. Check it out for yourself.
You just added all right. Where's that text? I don't see that text. I'm just kidding, Kate. But I still don't trust you. Personally, I think she's secretly the person who did the thing for James. The demon world finally knew peace. It was a grand moment. The sounds of a million cheers echoing and burning themselves in my memory in celebration for the end of the war. Diana had finally destroyed the demon lord. Soon enough, we would watch her become the matriarch of the abyssal plains, uniting the entire world under her rule. It was almost too unreal to experience and see as a human. However, I was happy for Diana, and I was proud to stand beside her and support her through it all. The war was an experience and a half, and I would never forget it for as long as I lived. As for me, I found myself drawn to Diana, hoping to spend every night with her in her arms. The human world became a faintly drifting memory as my life embedded itself into the demon world. That is so dangerous! You have a family, you have friends. What about Naomi and Suzu and video games? Many demons questioned me, but Saero and Diana defended me with every conflict that came. However, there was never a day that went by I didn't wonder, did I make the right choice? It was a heavy chapter of my life, one that tested the love between me and Diana. My heart seemed to remind me that I had come to the demon world to help Diana, and now it was time for her to honor her end of the deal. She had to teach me everything about the 5 worlds and about magic. As a queen, that wasn't possible now. To my surprise, I didn't seem to mind. I had been given the experience of a lifetime, and I easily accepted it as a promise fulfilled. What? Learn about magic! She could at least tell you, or she could have somebody else, let you wander the libraries. The faint memory of my own power slightly tingled through me every time I grew confident, eagerly reminding me that I had strength of my own. I would never let anyone come between me and Diana ever again. The thoughts of it all echoed in my mind as I laid in bed, looking up at the ceiling with a wide smile on my face. Despite the dangers being real, the war was an adventure, fun to look back upon in my memories. What? I took in a breath and let out a sigh, leaning back against the arm beneath my head and closing my eyes. I was at peace, and everything was all right.
Are you okay, dear?
What is this? Boo pillows. Yay! Everybody looks so happy. I opened my eyes at the sound of my pet name, looking up to see Diana smiling down at me. I could only giggle and cuddle into her embrace. I was just thinking about us.
Were you now? What about us?
With a smile, I nuzzled Diana's chest softly and closed my eyes, listening to her steady and loving heartbeat. How thankful I am to be here with you. Okay, I can't right now. Look at Saero's face. He's like, yes, madam mistress. And I'm just like, boobs. But what is happening? Wouldn't she be so uncomfortable? Because I like to sleep on my side. I would not be the good meat of a sandwich, may I just say. Because I would be like, no, I need my space. Diana stared down at me, gently hugging me to her. I could feel her own joy at the situation resonate from her embrace and her kiss over my head. Saero only chuckled as he laid on her other side, listening to us speak to each other. Saero and I had gotten over our differences. We had none. He glared at us one time across the table, which is totally understandable. And I was positive that we would be perfect together, taking care of our demon queen. We both adored Diana and found each other both equally, held close to each side of her body every morning.
I am thankful that you're here too. Both of you. You have done so much for me, and I will cherish you forevermore.
Yay! Well, they'll live forever. I probably won't. I believed every word. I let her words embed themselves into my heart, and I would remember them forever. As Diana hugged Saero and I to her, the 3 of us let out a simultaneous sigh of contentment. I would love her and continue to hold her close for the rest of my life. Nothing would be able to tear me away from her any longer. And that was my perfect happily ever after. And I am thankful for you and you. Yes! Seduce me to the Demon War. Was anyone else a little disappointed in that? No? Oh, that was really fast. That was a really quick route, which is kind of funny because it's her war, so I figured there might be a little bit more to it other than a belly dancing routine. So, yeah. I don't know. Not my favorite route. And not because I don't love Diana. I do love Diana. Not necessarily romantically as a straight woman, generally speaking. But, it just... You didn't get to know Diana more. You remember how in Eric's route I was like, you didn't learn anything about Eric. Like, and I love Eric. I wanted to know more about Eric. I wanted to have more conflict with him, more scenes involving him, not just like the weird spirit thing that was possessing me. Kind of feel the same way with Diana. Like, all it was like, Saero likes her. They had a scene together for 2 seconds when they were younger. Like, I would have loved to know more about the entry level of their relationship. As opposed to just like, will you be a total jerk and try to, like, take Diana away from Saero? Not that that makes you a jerk. I mean, you did fall in love. Or, are you going to pretend you don't love her and have Saero stab you in the face? Like, I feel like those are my 2 other options. Do you guys want to see those other options? Who's Simon Tabby? Because the creator of the game / Diana's voice also does Simon Tabby. Oh my gosh, Simon Tabby. Oh, that's the weird thing Matthew made. Okay. Anyway, it's all good. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you want to see the other endings of Diana? Are you fine? Are you over Seduce Me too? I don't even know. I still have other games to play. We've still got to finish Psychonauts. I still got to finish Okage. Shut up, Kate. And, we'll see. And one day I might even go back to Dandelion Wishes. It just takes so long. It takes so long to do every single route. Anyway. I hope you have a lovely day, and please let me know if you have any other questions, or you can comment or like. What would you have done in Mika's shoes? Would you have been like, Saero, back off, Diana's my lady? Would you have been like, oh, I guess we can both be friends and, like, still love her? Or would you make Diana choose? Or would you just be like, peace out, I just want to learn some stuff, and then you can send me back? I feel like the fair thing to do if Mika was going to be, like, the primary dating person is to let them have dates once in a while. And, like, with the understanding that Saero, since he's going to live a lot longer than us, could date her after we had passed more thoroughly and just, like, casually while we were still together. That's why I didn't care about sharing her. I'm like, yeah, why not? I mean, you've known each other forever. Am I a total babble face? Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a great day and stay sweet.